Hello there everyone, this is I Am Mark 3 and welcome back to... First of all, I still kind of wish that Semple weren't quite so loud. I'd forgotten, but yeah, there we go. Welcome back to Western Removal, and welcome back to the AX-B1, the Semple, as you all know by this point. The end of the last part was a bit of a rushed thing, but I think this will make it clear that I haven't worked out what to do since then, so yeah. Okay, so here's what's going on. There has been the whole AI update. There was a build between this and this part and the last one, and then they went to change the AIs again, so I need to go over this thing kind of carefully and make sure that everything's working properly, because there was some changes to the whole PID thing. So let's have a look. See, up is okay. Yeah, I've noticed that ones that translate from the previous game state before the AI update seem to still function okay. Like in this case, up means that it'll respond to a PID telling it to, you know, increase altitude, idiot, kind of thing. And pitch is also there, which means it responds to pitch control too. So this was what's confusing things a bit. But they have made this thing a lot friendlier since when it first came out. So there's things like the presets, which allow you to get configurations which will kind of mimic how things were before, which you do actually need on Thrustercraft because they don't tend to do rolling systems too well. Let's check these ones really quickly. Yeah, look, I mean, this one responds to upward as well as to roll, so I'm glad I decided to check this. So let's just click roller preset. This one will respond to rolling left. That's fine. This one's set to roll it to the right. Roll preset. Yep, because I don't want those guys responding to upward command, because they're only meant to be on when it's trying to do some roll correction. Okay, and at the back, these guys should be set to... Yeah, look, these guys are on up as well. That's not what I want. I want pitcher preset. Yeah, there we go. That's turned off its hover response, because they'll kick in by themselves if the craft is pitching upwards. So I just need to do that, and if I should be able to spread this as well, so... Yeah, there we go. Right. So those guys will have... You notice they've slowed down considerably because they were trying to do altitude control. Now they'll only respond to pitch control, but as the nose gets pushed up by the ones at the front, they will now kick in by themselves. And following that vein, we should do this with due care. I don't actually want these guys... Well, actually we do, because it's only downwards. If this was a Thrustercraft, I would take this off pitch control entirely and leave the forward ones responsible just for altitude. Or with a larger craft, I'd spread them out as well. But that all seems to be viable. Okay, now these guys, you guys, turning systems have typically been okay. It should be yawing properly. Yep, yaw left. Okay. I still have the advanced controller set up. There is still advantage to doing that, honestly, because it does make sure that things go off when and where you want them to. But by and large, once you get past the changes, I think is probably the fairest way to put it. The AI update has done quite a bit to modify how things work. Yes. Anyway, the stabilization thrusters and things are all working out okay. Anyway, back to the general plan. I mentioned that I decided what to do from here, and the end of last episode was really messed up. Well, not really. It's just like it's one of my bad habits, which is like I can panic a bit, especially when I realise I'm not doing something quite how I wanted to, and that was what was happening there. Let's tear out these parts too. Yep, I want to keep that on top because of initial detection profile, recoil stabilization. Well, it's not stabilization, it's recoil absorption. Still useful to have, but we won't mess around with the weapon systems and things already in here for one simple reason. The Semple is going to be upgraded further, which is exactly why we are continuing with this build. Also, my mouse is not as responsive as it was because my mouse mats decided to break literally when I was about to start recording. So I'm actually using it on a bare glass table. Not the most responsive thing, is it? Anyway, let's continue. I think we're going to lose the roundness, but with the whole angle craft, yeah. So, full disclaimer, I should mention, as soon as I stop going off on mental tangents and work out what the hell I'm doing. Is that too much? I feel like that's a bit too much. Okay. So, this craft, if you watched Damodoc's stream on Twitch a few weeks ago, then this craft got a little bit of a spoiler there, because I submitted it to him to have a poke at, and it actually refreshed my memory on a whole bunch of things. So that was very handy getting direct feedback, though as a result, as you can see, I'm kind of mucking around right now trying to work out what the hell I'm doing. So, one criticism was that it was like too much of a ball turret kind of thing, and I kind of agree. Kinda. Because it was a very rounded turret on a very angular hull. Normally I wouldn't have done that, but I was trying to go with something of a more compact turret, and then I went and ruined that entirely by just, you know, by tacking a whole load of detection gear on the top. So, let's actually go ahead and correct all of that. I think I'll strip that. Yeah. I'll put a thing. Actually, let's put that there. Though, again, influenced by Damodoc, off-center design. I don't tend to do this. I tend to build more symmetrically, but I noticed how Damodoc had asymmetrical turret equipment installed, and so I think I'm going to try and do that. I kind of want that to be one tall, though, if I'm going to plate on top of this, otherwise it's going to block some of the active radar. It's either that or I put active radars on the sides. But either way, this turret's getting a little bit heavier, as it stands right now. Anyway, moving on. This version is getting upgraded. It's way over budget. That's why I panicked a little bit. We don't need that 90 degree forward. Well, actually, that's still useful. But it will... It affects the appearance of the craft a little bit. I guess we're going to go with a wider turret, though. But this does mean I can actually install a little bit of recoil damping back into it as well. Okay, moving on. Yeah, so, we're going to take a slightly different approach here. We are still going to get this thing into the budget. The main cost is actually flat out how expensive the weapons and mods are that I've installed on this craft, making it, you know, what it is. So, this Semple is actually going to be... I keep changing my mind on how I want to try and shape the turret. Right. The Semple is actually going to be a case of... It's going to be built... Yes, it's going to be built. That much I'm fairly sure of. It's going to be built up to be a high-end version of the same basic hull, if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. I think it does, but this is me we're talking about. Okay, right, there we go. So I've done it like that, and I'm going to install a 2-meter triangle here, which, as you can see, is hollowed out on the other side to make room for the forward-fitted radar station. So, there we go. So it's a bit more rounded, but it's definitely more angled turret going on here. So I think that's going to improve the overall integrity of the... Well, integrity? Not really. The turret is actually a little bit more vulnerable. The overall aesthetics of the design. There we go, that's the word. I need to make sure we've got enough... control. Fairly sure we have, but we have added an extra bit to it. Let's go with 2s at the back here. Flat corner? Yeah, flat corner. So, what I'm going to do is, I am going to fix up this guy. This Semple is going to be fully functional. And it's also going to be as advanced as I can do, because one of the things commented on is how it has got random bits of nonsense on it. I think it's probably the kindest way to describe the situation. And it is also a very apt way to describe the situation. Yeah, just placing that over to make sure it's all covered. Yep. And there we go, we've got a slightly lower sitting turret, which still has all the same detection capabilities on it. So that'll do okay. And it does look a bit better with that on there, I must admit. Right, moving on. So, I'm going to complete this one. The Semple is going to be fully geared up and tweaked and all that stuff. We're going to actually get stuff to use the munition warning sensors on the back there. By the way, that's on a turning turret just so it'll point towards incoming threats. That's entirely why it's like that. In fact, I could turn that straight into a missile defense turret with how it's styled at the moment. Let's see. It's a controller, so it turns. Local weapon control. The local weapon controller means it turns towards incoming targets, so it turns towards the enemy. But since I last worked on this, I have actually experimented with missile interceptors, so I actually have a better idea of what I'm trying to do. Shocker, I know. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. We've got the small laser, we've got these guys. We don't have any underwater detection. That is actually a weakness of the design. And I think it's why the remote guided missiles were struggling a bit. Though that also might be due to some lack of processing power as well, I'm not quite sure. So just that, this is all still the same. I do need to get the AI times down, so let's drop it down. Actually, I think that would probably be why, actually. Remote guided missiles, they depend on an AI which is really on top of things, and I forgot to do that. So, no blooming wonder they were struggling. The remote guided missiles, you need a high performance, well, not high performance, a high accuracy AI. Let's cut it down to half a second each way. That is a good 6 times faster on bearing and range, and a good 12 times faster, or 10 times faster, something like that, for speed calculations. So this AI is going to know where the heck the target is a lot more often, and that will also help the remote guided missiles hit their targets. I can't believe I forgot to do that, but apparently I did, so there we go. Then again, the AI has been overhauled since then, so maybe I didn't, and it's just been reset, which means we're going to have to meddle with the AI too. Anyway, moving on. Sorry. We do need some extra detection underneath. So, currently this craft has no way to actually detect underwater targets reliably. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tunnel out slightly underneath here to at the very least get some side-mounted detectors of the sonar variety. So sonar 90 degrees. There we go. Let's move it in. And a 3-block beam there. Of course, that means if I plate underneath that here, it's going to get in the way of that. Meow dum dum. It's going to have to go here, just to help hide the systems involved. Oh well, such as it is, c'est la vie. Right, this craft does have some problems with equipment exposure, more than I normally do. Beam 2, like that. I've got 1, an AI connector. I'm still trying to get used to the reduced reliability of my mouse. It's not moving as much as it should because of the whole thing. There we go. And I can plate this because it won't interfere with that either. So at least I can plate on the sides. A plate in the middle where I put the AI connection, that would have caused problems. Come on, mouse. There we go. Right. Metal plates. That. Just to help cover it a little bit. And unfortunately, we've still got to keep these middle two clear because of that, but we can at least plate the two sides to give it a little bit more cover. So there we go. Small thing, but it's a bit less exposure nonetheless. We can also plate the side here as well, just to make it look like that's like a full thing. Look at me, I'm being picky now. Yay. Okay, moving on. So, pitch, stability, all that jazz, fine. We still need to get our grubby little mitts on some repair functionality. Which I'm thinking I'll actually install here, at least some of it. Because I mentioned that in the list of stuff that was not yet in here. And we're going to have it in here, darn it. Since I've decided it might be of interest to actually see me doing this and monkeying around further, that is what we are going to do as soon as I find the stuff. There we go, repair bots. Fine. Can't mount them upwards because there's that there, but I can click them in and then I can just turn it and relay it like that. That gets it where I want it to. Because of FTD's picky systems. So we've got some repair bots underneath. We can fit more repair bots in other spots around the hull, and we should do. Let's just press P to see what's behind it. Yeah, I'm happy with it to go there. Admittedly, this is the part that vaporizes if it gets sneezed at. So those ones are probably going to get damaged. But I'm also going to fit some underside here. So yeah, this craft's protection is mostly towards the top. Whoops. I'll put it there. So ton of repair bots. While I quietly replace part of the hull that I accidentally stripped out. You didn't see me do that, right? Not at all. Okay. So repair bots scattered in 3 places, mostly on the undersides, but there are some rear-mounted repair bots at the sides. That's okay. Feature added, except for the fact there's no material storage to run them. We need some materials, so let's grab some materials. Notice, by the way, I am going, let's slow down and think a little bit. I think I thunk. Or something. Something along those lines. Ooh, there was a small gap there. Oh, that's part of the turret space, that's why. I can put some in front of the... in this part. Oh, here we go, side space. Sure. Strap them in there. And because I understand and accept like how hurried and panicked I was getting at the end of the last part is a bit of a bad habit of mine personally when it comes to designing stuff. So I figured I should actually, you know, be okay with it. Yeah. And so I'm not going to rush. I'm going to take my time, do the thing, and get laughed at because I'm a complete moron. More often than not. And that is my fate, I accept it. Okay, moving on. We still need to correct the AI, or, well, actually we shouldn't have to, but I need to find the AI again. There it is. So, AI. Yeah, it looks a little bit clunky, but it's actually a lot better because it's now got the editor up the side here. This used to be like a separate window you had to click into, and I think that was confusing a lot of people. But we have auto-generated based on how it was previously, so it's got auto-generated naval, 1 kilometer, min 600, 110, so normal 75. It's got the stuff. The adjustment AI will allow it to try and do things like it'll try to avoid vehicles, try to avoid crashing into the beach, you know, depending on what you set it up for, really. Maneuvering, auto-generated maneuvering, but this is one of the slight drawbacks. Rather than just like having one AI card, you now have different behaviours and things, so at least you can get broadside, bombers, ramming craft, that kind of thing. So you can do a lot more to customise these things now with just the vanilla stuff. The problem is it's not as easy to get into. I'm okay with that. Maneuvering, fine with that. Additionals. One routine moves out of 2 because we have a card slot installed. We don't want any of these though, except for projectile avoidance routine. Interesting. Okay. Determines highest priority projectile. Apparently we've been doing this for like 2,600 odd seconds at this point. Interesting, but hardly relevant. So this guy will... This wasn't here before, I don't think. But this will actually go ahead and let us work things out. And this craft will try to avoid projectiles if it notices them coming early enough, which is useful. I'm going to have to look into that one a bit more. PIDs, non-connected, basic settings, all non-connected. So this craft should be functional still with the existing AI, which is good. So, moving on. Last piece of the control system I need to double check before we can get on with like new and shiny pieces. This was meant to be like, well, meant to be. I was thinking this would be like 1 episode, really, but it might turn into 2 because I don't know, we're already 20 minutes in, I believe. Depends on how well we do. If the Semple gets an extra 2 episodes instead of an extra 1 episode. Where did I put the PIDs? The PIDs. I know they're around here somewhere. Somewhere there. Oh, no? Oh, nope, there they are. Right. Sorry about that. Okay. PIDs. Good, they auto-set. They've added a couple of more bits and pieces so you can actually get more controls in. But something it took me a while to spot is that you actually need to set the PIDs to have an input now. Because they don't have that by default. At least these general PIDs don't. I don't know about the AI ones because I don't use those. But these normal ones, you need to tell it what to listen to on your crafts. So it's not like you can't just click vertical and then it'll automatically do vertical, or click roll and it's automatically a roll. You need to click roll on the output, and then the input you actually have to go in and you have to select the roll of the craft as an input. Otherwise, it won't matter what you do to it, it just won't realise what the hell's going on. And that's kind of why I'm still going to put in the AX-B1 really and release the videos on that one, even though it's slightly outdated already. I recorded it like a week or so ago, but yeah, that was on pitch. That's fine. That was on roll. That was fine. That was on altitude. Fake point is set to 2. That's fine. Okay, yeah. So that's all functional and good to go. One last thing, really quickly, is the update also, when it messed with the PIDs and AIs and things, it gave us some extra options in our missile blocks. So, we've got a short-range thruster and a fuel tank. We've got sticky flare. All fine. But there's some more utility parts, which means we don't actually need to use the buoys as decoys, because there's actual dedicated decoys, and the missiles give you the information for them as well. Like, even here, it tells you the detection strength of the sticky flares when they are launched. But what I want is the radar target simulator. And now it's cut in half the maximum heat decoy, but we've now got radar decoy. And this does not require additional AI support. So yeah, very handy that. Also as a note, maybe I should swap this from a 4... No. Maybe on other designs, not on this one. This one is still like kind of like figuring stuff out. Copy that. So this one will also draw off radar guided missiles to some extent as well. The problem is there is a counter module, which is a signal processor which allows missiles to try to work out what they're tracking. And there is also the fact that they're small missiles, so they're not going to be that good at it. Because the bigger missiles have more effective parts. Anyway, moving on. You've got a missile controller there. I'm thinking this turret needs to get gutted completely. In fact, yeah, let's do that. So, there's no need for a missile turret, which will... Well, there's no need for a missile turret which can actually, you know, turn around... Sorry. No need. Someday I'll get my words straight. Not today. I wish there was a missile turret. Yes, there we go. I wish there was a missile turret which we could use, and it would allow us to you know, it like bend the missile system in half, effectively. I wish there was a missiles magazine system in this game. There is not though, but there you go. But something that will let me use like a narrower turret piece to help a missile system that's not pointing straight upwards would be nice. Anyway, munition warners, that's what I wanted. No, it's not. I wanted that because I'm actually extending this backwards slightly. Detection equipment. Actually, I think apart from painting, there's not much else I want to add to this thing. Also, I'm gone in the wrong place because I'm an idiot. Yeah. Is that what you like? Put that there. Yep. So we've got 3 of those. We need the AI connector to allow those to work. They're still going to turn towards stuff, but it's actually going to be guided by a different weapon controller. So let's actually give it something to use. Maybe I should have put those one layer higher. I am second guessing myself a lot, actually. Right. Anyway, let's keep on going. So, small launchers. Yes. I believe we need. Actually, I think a 4 block is about the minimum for an interceptor missile. 4 module rather. Let's see, missile interceptor, fuel tank, fins. Yep, there we go. Variable thruster fins to them. So, yep, that is the absolute smallest possible missile interceptor we can get our grubby little mitts on. I can swap this around slightly. It will look kind of ugly, but hey, what can you do? Yeah, I can swap this. Sorry, this is my design process right now. Erratic. Right, so we'll put the detection gear on top of this thing. So, missiles. Small launcher. Like that. Okay. Then we can put a controller on there. Yes. And we can add 2 connectors to the side. We also get to bend it slightly by having a staggered fire underneath it. So there we go. We have a very small anti-missile turret. 12 missiles. Continuous fire is fine. We're going to add in a... Well, we're going to let it fire whenever the hell it likes, basically. Because it's like, ooh, incoming missile. Let's actually try and shoot that down. The missiles will turn towards it, so they should be fine. At least I think they will. We've got the munition detectors to try and pick up the missiles. Yeah, that should be good. It's a bit of an ugly turret, must admit, but beggars can't be choosers. It's built in a bit of a confined spot. Let's do what we can with it. And of course we need decorative plating to go on the top of it because we are perfectionists. Yes, there we go. Also on the sides of it because why the hell not? There we go. So we've got an ugly little turret at the back there. And that will actually help to detect incoming missiles and deal with them, which is great. The only drawback is it can't do anything about torpedoes. So that's one system that still needs to be added, some kind of torpedo system. And yes, this design, we are going to be overrunning ever so slightly, but that can't be helped. So, put that there. The anti-missile cannon controller can actually control this because it has an independent turret. As a note though, the anti-missile cannon system, from what I can tell, can't control hull-mounted missile launchers. Those have to be triggered directly by an ACB. Speaking of... Yeah, these ones do have to be triggered automatically, but there was some missile spam going on, so I'm actually going to adjust this one. Look at all the lovely commands here. So it's only going to do that when it's got enemy missiles or torpedoes within a kilometre range. And that's when it'll start triggering. Rather than like, it's like, ooh, there's an enemy, let's start throwing pretty things all over the place. No, might as well hang on to that until needed. Let's double check the restrictions on this fire piece. Fire piece. You don't actually have any turning restrictions on you, but you've now got a bulkier turret, so I can't allow you to do that. Let's flip the values and... Oh, good. I didn't spot this, but this is like the quality update, or part of it. They have adjusted this so we can actually... So it was a bit jumbled, now it's actually neater, which is great. So... I think beyond like 90 they're going to struggle a little bit, so... There we go. That should be good. That'll allow it to turn 90 degrees either way to help get the interceptor missiles towards targets. Good. As for you, your maximum range, let's set you to like a 1 kilometer? Oops. Come on, mouse. There we go. 1 kilometer. Max fate, fine. That's all fine. Acceptable miss angle. Yeah. I'm still not entirely sure about that one. Speed. It'll shoot at incoming burny, explodey things. That's all I really want at the moment. So, yes. Yes, please. We're also going to do, however, a 1, 2, 3. So that's as far close as it can get without risking getting blown up if the rear ammo gets touched off by an enemy shell. But we're going to have to... We need the space, really. So I'm going to move this back slightly. That's connected to that. And that will allow me to connect to... Actually, let's move this up slightly. Keep changing my mind. Another anti-missile controller. Right. Oh wait, no, that's going to control that one. I'm going to embed it in the hull, actually. Let's do it that way. And put that thing back where I had it in the first place. Because I'm great at this. Right. Beam 3. Fill that hole in. We have an option here for underside mounted system. Unfortunately, because the controls there, the turret piece will be extruded. Unless we actually bypass that and just put it like that instead, because that makes more sense. Don't know why I'd do that. It's only sensible. Also, I don't know why I replaced that metal hull, because I need to tear it straight out again. Because... See, this is why I'm great at building stuff. Anyway, new object, 2-axis turret, 1-axis turrets, 1 meter, and that is now recessed underneath. It's still rear-facing, but that's absolutely fine and dandy. But this is where we are going to fit the torpedo interceptor. So, same kind of deal, really. We don't need to worry about too much. So, pop it there. In fact, we can actually do something more compact here, or more powerful, whatever you like to say about it. So we can install that there. We can install a stagger fire there, which will slow down the depletion of the missiles. And we can actually go with a rail system instead. So launchers go on the sides of it. If I mirror moded it, would be nice. Also, if they were pointing in the right direction, would also be nice. There we go. But there we go. Now we've got, that's basically all we need for that, but we can do better. And this is one of the reasons why I like the launchers. I don't like the lack of ejectors, which is a bit of a drawback, but the whole fact we can increase the size of the darn things by doing stuff like that. So we've got a 12 tube anti-missile interceptors. And we've got a 8-rack anti-torpedo interceptor, which is actually quite a bit heavier. I think I'll shorten it down to like 2 blocks instead of 3. Still pretty darn good, but anyway. Missile interceptor head. Fast on there. The torpedo interceptor is going to be a bit more advanced. Fins, yes. Target prediction. Probably help. Actually, let's put the fuel there and then put target prediction next. Okay. And you are actually a torpedo. So there we go. actually, let's make this fast turn, really fast turning. So, out of the entire length of the missile, half of it is taken by fins. that can only be good. But we've also got target protection, we've got a single fuel tank, we've got the interceptor block and the torpedo prop at the back. And it can turn pretty quickly. It's not the fastest missile, but it's nice and pointy, so I'll accept that for it. That's all we need. If something is pointy enough, it's good. Good rule of thumb. Yes. By the way, you should never listen to me about anything because, well, if you've not realised that by now, I can't do much for you. So, right, metal plate. The only problem is I'm not really sure how to test these darn things. We can, however, do that. So, they're nice and enclosed, and they are ready to be spat out wherever the heck they are required. There we go. So, nice little underslung torpedo interceptor system. Let's get our view the right way up. It's nice and angled. It will twist around. It's got more freedom because of the shape of the hull down there, but it still needs a restriction on it. So, enable restriction, invert. We don't want the elevation systems. Let's give it a nice, cool 45. There we go. So it can turn mostly forward facing if it needs to launch shots around past the propellers and things. Though it still won't turn in such a way that it will actually shoot at the propellers, which is kind of important. But that should be good for intercepting incoming stuff. I believe I need passive sonar though Don't need a passive sonar for this. Passive sonar, determine direction range of enemy from these. Can detect missile radar buoys and missile active radars. I want the sonar. Underwater function, drag, sea vehicles. Any enemy that is pinging your vehicle with sonar, that's the one. So a bit more underwater detection gear, but kind of needed for the most part, so yeah. Let's put them there. They've got relatively clear views. Oh wait, no, they can't view forward because of those. Okay. I'll just turn these guys sideways then. Upwards, no. Forwards is still blocked by something. I think I know what's blocking it though. But we've got to make the vehicle pretty. Yeah, here we go. It's these plates here that are blocking it. I still think it's kind of silly that these plates block stuff like that, but you know, that's what the game says, so there we go. That's going to be revealed now. And there we go. One on... Oh, I mirrored in the wrong plane. That's why. What can I say? I still say I'm the best at this. Really, really am. But that will do. We can plate underneath to help hide things, like that. We can auto-adjust it to take those into account. We do need to increase the AI a little bit, I think, because we have increased the processing load and we are not compensated for the... Let's attach a couple there. And we are not compensating for the extra tracking systems we've installed. I mean, we've got the extra 360 in the top, we've got all the sonar systems underneath. So, yeah, we do kind of need to add some more bits and pieces. But because of how I've packed the vehicle, it's a bit tricky trying to work that out. Do I have space at the front? Tiny bit. There, there. Of course, when the nose-mounted ammunition rack goes up, it will cause further damage, but it's going to gut systems out anyway, so... Yes. This craft is not that good at taking a hit if it gets past its armour and shielding. But at least now it's actually got some active defences, and it's got better decoys as well. So there is that for it. this little guy is growing up a little bit. I will, however, go ahead and add in some nice bits and pieces, because I think we're done now with at least the Semple version. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's put one here as well. Don't worry, you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. Because I'm now into all the triangles to go with it. But yeah, this is the Semple, ladies and gents, now actually completed. And this is a version I'm happy with. So this is slightly above our target budget. It's now 35 out of a target of about 20 or so. So it's definitely over budget. But well, when this was put to Down the Dock stream, one of the comments was there was a bit of surprise about how much craft there was for the size and the cost. There was also the comment that, like, I'd completely forgotten that frag rounds are the king of subcalibers. These guns are going to do pretty well. The lasers help cover for AA. It's got a lot of detection potential. It's got some self-repair capabilities now, which I didn't have before. I almost forgot to add in remote repair for fleet support, which I should add in now, before I lose track of it again. That's what I missed, yes. Let's add in a couple of repair tentacles, just tack them in with all due care, like that. One at the back, of course, next to all the high explosives, but also one near the front as well. So either end of the craft has a repair tentacle for help fixing other craft. But yes, let's go ahead and... oh, it reset my colours again. I wish it wouldn't do that. Maybe it should just... well, if I set fleet colours though, then it loses the fleet colours. Right. 3... I want 3, yes. Like that. Pull it all away. Alpha strong, apply. So this is one of the colour schemes. Part of my current colour scheme. I'm actually thinking of redoing my fleet scheme, but this is also why I installed those plates on the side, because now we can go ahead and colour them like so for a bit of detail. So I've got a couple of extra little bits and pieces, and then we'll continue to paint the rest of it. I mean, I actually painted the main hull of the licorice in this colour, and I like it, so that's why I'm thinking of making it like a main thing. Also, apparently I forgot to do darn mirror mode. Anyway, yeah, with that, this design is actually done, apart from paint, which I will quite happily take care of off camera because there's no need to bore you guys with that. So, the next video, the final one, will be the actual workshop upload for this craft, and then you can get your hands on it and do what you want with it. And from there, the next boat project will be the AX-B1, which will actually be a variant of this one. So, for that, I'll strip out the weapons, the gear, the engines, and we'll be down to like the hull and the motive components, because I'm absolutely happy with those. And then we'll make up a cheap version, which will also likely have plenty of space inside for upgrading as a campaign progresses, and we'll actually get that one on budget. So yeah, there will be a second version of this craft coming out, which will bear the other name I picked from the Discord for it. So that one will not be needing a name, I'm afraid. It's already been chosen. So yeah, this has been Mark 3. Thank you for watching for this extra length one, since I know this has gone over 40 minutes now. But this craft is actually finished. Sans paint job. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all some other time. Yes. Whoops. See you all later. Yeah, click free paint, you idiots.